Good morning, Philippines! This is your anchor, Erika Obera, and welcome to CSR News. The company for today's report is none other than Ford Motor Companies. To start, our reporter will be giving us a brief introduction. The mic is yours, Harvey.
Ford Motor Company is an American automobile manufacturer founded by Henry Ford in 1903. Before he founded the company, he built his own car which he called Quadricycle in 1896. The most successful car that Ford ever produced is the Mustang. It started selling in 1964. After the huge success of the company, they started producing different types of vehicles such as vans, SUVs, and even electrified vehicles. The company's vision is to become the world's most trusted company, designing smart vehicles for a smart world. And the company's mission statement is to make people's lives better by making mobility accessible and affordable. I am Harvey Aquilino from CSR News.
For further news, we have ourselves a guest from Ford Motor Companies itself. As Ford CSR representative, Mr. Aniago, tell us more about the company's CSR program that's been gaining a lot of attention these days, the Carbon Neutral Sustainability Goal.
Hello CSR News, I'm Luke, Ford's CSR representative. Today I am here to give you an overview of Ford's recent Carbon Neutral Sustainability Goal. You see, this is the world. Zoom in and what do you find? Cars. Lots of it. Did you know that a typical passenger vehicle emits about 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year? That's almost 30% of economic greenhouse gas emissions in the US just by burning fuel. Luckily, our company wanted to focus on addressing this, so we set the huge CSR goal to be fully carbon neutral by the year 2050. Any carbon dioxide that the company will emit, an equivalent amount that we will remove from the atmosphere. To do this, we will need to transition into using 100% locally sourced renewable energy in all our plants by 2035. We also want our development team to focus on the manufacturing of more efficient electric vehicles. In fact, we've already released the electric car version of the Mustang in 2020 called the Mach-E, with more electric versions of vehicles like the F-150 to follow. Moreover, we've created electric vehicle car centers in Michigan and Germany, furthermore encouraging our partners and suppliers to reduce their own emissions as well through our Partnership for a Cleaner Environment program. All of these programs and many more are outlined under the Scope 1, 2, and 3 of the whole CSR project. Indeed, this CSR goal is a grand one to achieve, so we logically need the help of the whole organization. That includes the corporate hierarchy, the 3 regional geographic divisions, and the global functional groups. All of these are for the sake of our stakeholders, which are mainly our customers, our employees, our investors, and the communities around us. It is not too late. Let us choose a greener future ahead.
Thank you for that wonderful explanation. In other news, we've also looked into Ford Motor Company's Carbon Neutral Sustainability Goal. What exactly are the current practices and policies of Ford that supports the CSR program? Well, in order to fulfill their carbon neutral sustainability goal, Ford has decided to focus on 3 things. 1. Carbon emissions. 2. Renewable electricity. And finally, 3. Waste and water. For carbon emissions, they have committed to an approved science-based target to reduce Scope 1 and 2 greenhouse gas emissions from their operations by 76% by 2035 from a 2017 baseline. To help them achieve their current goal, which is an 18% absolute reduction in tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2023, they are focused on securing a reliable and renewable electricity supply for their manufacturing plants, continuing to make those facilities more efficient, and collecting, storing, and managing data and analytics. In fact, they have achieved their previous greenhouse gas emissions target 8 years early through initiatives such as installing LED lights and updating their painting operations. In 2020, they reduced their absolute emissions by 15.1%, or 0.53 million metric tons. Moving on, we have renewable electricity. As stated by Ford themselves, their goal of using 100% local renewable electricity for all manufacturing plants by 2035 is closely linked to their commitment to electrified vehicles. They secure renewable electricity through relationships with geographically local utilities, power producers, and independent project developers. Their Dearborn truck plant, Michigan assembly plant, and several new buildings on the research and engineering and Corktown campuses will be powered by 100% locally sourced renewable electricity by the second quarter of 2021. And finally, we have waste and water. Ford Motor Companies is very committed to targeting true zero waste to landfill through the reduce, reuse, recycle model and working to eliminate single-use plastics. In fact, their waste targets remain largely unchanged despite COVID-19. They made some operational adjustments based on impacts at site level, but their initial glide path remains constant. As of now, they are working hard to reduce costs and keep wastes out of landfill. In 2020, Ford facilities around the world sent approximately 17,469 metric tons of waste to landfill, which is 36% less than in 2019. As for water, their global manufacturing water strategy is targeting a 15% reduction in absolute fresh water by 2025, building on their 75% reduction since the year 2000, and focuses on using fresh water for only human consumption. However, unavoidably, some of their 2020 metrics, including faculty emissions and water use, have been affected by COVID-19 plant closures. Well, with that said, that is it for the practices and policies that support their CSR program, the Carbon Neutral Sustainability Goal. Now, we have on the line a very special guest who will be providing us with an assessment of Ford Motor Company's CSR model. Mr. Draven, if you may.
According to my in-depth analysis of the Ford Motor Company, the carbon neutrality program of Ford Motor Company is an example of an integrative model of corporate social responsibility. The program is integrative because firms that use this model of CSR combine economic and social goals for the betterment of society. Although Ford Motor Company is an automobile company, they still work on conserving the environment and reducing emissions affecting the globe. Apparently, the business focuses on three main areas, and it is to reduce emissions on car production, company facilities, and suppliers. This indicates that Ford Motor Company is a socially responsible business because they operate in the best interest of society, and hence it is an integrative model approach. Well, perhaps it is also one of the reasons for Ford's success, and this is due to their social responsibility as a company. Furthermore, businesses should always be accountable and responsible in certain situations, just like the Ford Motor Company. And companies should strive to do more than creating a profit, but rather they should also strive to make the world a better place for the next generation.
In order to gain more perspective on this topic, we have also invited an employee of Ford Motor Companies. George, would you like to give us some insight on the possible impact the CSR program would have? As an employee, do you yourself believe that this program is beneficial or is it harmful? The mic is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Erika, for the welcoming introduction, and thank you for also having me here. My name is George Bearneza, a humble employee of Ford Motors for about 10 years now. I guess by seeing this CSR program as an innovation investment by the management, this is easier to tackle since it particularly is one. An innovation investment, or rather any type of investment, has its own sunk costs and risks, of course. These are inevitable and will impact us employees and in a more macro sense, all the other stakeholders in the company. What's great with this CSR program of carbon neutrality end goal is not only does it give a very good impression to our company, it's also for the betterment of the environment. And I think that is very admirable. To our valued customers, this will really be impressionable to them and might actually opt them to choose our product more. Since, of course, as a human being, psychology plays a part in this. They will most likely feel like they will contribute to saving the environment by buying our products, which will be more eco-friendly due to the possible future success of the program. Speaking as an employee, I think this management decision is very commendable and it really left a good impression on Ford. To our investors, this will both be a high risk, high reward decision since they will choose to invest on a usual amount or more. This decision will be a dependent factor on if they will either earn a large dividend or not, or even lose it. But of course, every investment has this kind of risk. To our community, of course, it is with no doubt truly good for the environment and society and its people. That's why, in my perspective, this CSR program will greatly do more benefit than harm. Again, thanks for having me here.
Finally, to discuss the recommendations for improvement, we will be having our last guest of today, Ms. Gia Bosquit, a stockholder in Ford Motor Companies. Ms. Gia?
Ford Motor Company's goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2050 is definitely not a light task. In fact, it is the only global United States-based automaker that pledged to reduce CO2 emissions in accordance with the Paris Climate Agreement. Operating a carbon-heavy business faces numerous challenges in attaining the said goal. Firstly, adapting and shifting its products such as electric vehicles might be hard for its customers to embrace. Ultimately, nobody likes change. In 2019, only 1.1% of cars sold were electric, and there is hardly a market for second-hand electric vehicles. Additionally, there is a need to build sufficient and accessible charging points. With that, individuals need more convincing to purchase and switch to an electronic vehicle, the greener choice. For our suggestions, we first advise to help Ford reach its sustainability target while keeping its patrons in mind. They may do so by giving incentives to those opting for electric vehicles. An example may include providing higher cashback rates, more payment options, installments, or making a donation under the customer's name. To boost morale and promote its cause, Ford may partner with an environmental organization to make donations for every customer's electric car purchase and provide them a certificate. Next, incorporating it in their transactions, Ford may also influence other companies to join the advocacy by prioritizing suppliers and partners that adhere to their mission. Ford, being a multinational company that has been in business since 1903, poses a significant impact on its stakeholders. Its investment in environmental goals will cause others to spark interest and join the movement, especially when it focuses on dealing with alike and supporting companies. Fostering change requires inward work. Hence, for our third suggestion, aside from setting a good example, business leaders should also educate their employees on the importance and effects of sustainable habits and lifestyles. People are more likely to adhere and follow through when they understand the impact and significance of their actions. We suggest lessening hesitance by educating them on how and why to make an effort. Ultimately, these company initiatives should include and encourage everyone's participation. As Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Thank you.
Well, that was Ford Motor Companies and their carbon neutral sustainability goal. I am your anchor, Erika Obera, and this is CSR News.